Governor Steve Bullock has declared a state of emergency to help fight growing wildfires across Montana. Bullock has issued an executive order declaring a state of energy emergency to meet the demand for aviation fuel and other fire suppression resources. Now, the fires burning in the state are nothing close to what we saw back in 2017. But as we know, with the right fuels, these fires can grow to dangerous sizes within hours. Several recent new fires have caused an increased demand for drivers transporting aviation fuel and other fire suppression resources. Bullock also secured a federal fire management assistant grant from FEMA to help fight Helena's North Hills fire, a fire which grew exponentially overnight. We will get to an update on those fires in a bit, but first a statement from Governor Bullock. He says, "I join all Montanans in thanking the firefighters who are working around the clock to keep lives and property safe as we face some challenging fires in our state." Bullock continued by saying he also is thanking FEMA for acting quickly and providing us with assistance, adding he is pleased that local, state, and federal agencies are coordinating closely to mitigate risk put out fires. And tonight we are going to focus on two of those fires. Now, the largest is in the Mission Valley, where the Moss Ranch fire continues to grow. Now more than 5,000 acres are burning. And we also want to highlight the North Hills fire burning near Helena. This fire nearly 2,600 acres. The first one we saw grow quickly was the Moss Ranch fire. It went from roughly 400 acres to nearly 5,000 acres in just 24 hours. Now, it is 40% contained and it is being managed by a local Type 3 incident management team. There are 170 personnel assigned to the incident. Now, the blaze is burning in grass and timber along steep, rocky, rugged terrain. No structures or other infrastructures are threatened at this time. Now to the North Hills fire, where firefighters say they're starting to make progress against the fire burning north of Helena. But they continue to be concerned about uncertain weather. Authorities say winds overnight did push the fire towards some homes, but the winds not as strong as expected, and that gave them a chance to aggressively fight the fire at the edges of residential areas. They say no structures have been lost as of earlier this afternoon, but evacuations are remaining in place for several hundred homes, as firefighters say erratic winds could still put those areas in danger. Now, turning now to weather with Brett McCrummon. There's fires obviously across the board today.
Yeah.
What are we looking for the next 24 hours?
Well, we're not out of the woods yet. We're still looking at fire weather warning as we go ahead and take a look at the area shaded in pink on the map, and that includes southwestern Montana. And what we're expecting there is not so much low relative humidity. We're talking about some dry and wet thunderstorms moving through the area, and that is going to bring lightning strikes with it, and also some gusty and erratic winds, especially near any thunderstorms that may pop up. We are expecting some thunderstorms to develop tomorrow afternoon. Now, this fire weather warning goes into effect at 1 o'clock tomorrow afternoon and goes until 9 o'clock tomorrow night. And like I said, the current relative humidity is not too bad right now. It is low in Helena at 17%, but Bozeman 50%, Livingston at 40%, Butte 30%, and 62% in Dillon. We'll run down the rest of your forecast coming up in just a few minutes.
Thank you, Brett. Now, a multi-agency human trafficking operation in Cascade County led to 5 arrests this weekend. The 2-day sting operation led to 4 males and 1 female to be arrested and charged with prostitution. One arrest led to a search warrant of the Touch of Class massage parlor in Great Falls. Now, according to Cascade County Sheriff Jesse Slaughter, the office is now following up on several leads that were developed from this operation. And for a list of arrests made, you can head to our website. The internment of 120,000 Japanese, mostly Americans, during World War II is a story that we cannot forget. That's the sentiment of some who attend the Heart Mountain Pilgrimage Saturday, which honors a legacy and remembers what happened to the 10,000 internees. Q2's David J. reports on some of this weekend's events near Powell, Wyoming.
It's important to make sure that people get to know about Heart Mountain, why it's here, and how do we make sure something like what happened here doesn't occur again.
Norm Mineta, former congressman and cabinet secretary under Presidents Clinton and Bush, was an internee at the Heart Mountain Relocation Center.
Well, you know, I was an 11-year-old kid, so to me, the biggest thing that happened was for me to meet Senator Simpson. All I could think about is what kind of a guy he was. He was full of fun.
And they're inseparable. It's a great story.
Some talked about their experiences at Heart Mountain. Others talked about their families. Retired Los Angeles County Superior Court Judge Lance Ito talked about his parents.
My parents did not discuss the internment experience with us.
Ito's family was sent to the Santa Anita racetrack before being taken to Heart Mountain. His mother could not graduate with her class on June 26, 1942.
The next day, on Saturday, June the 27th, Bruce Kirkpatrick, who was the principal of John Marshall High School, drove out to Santa Anita, found my mother, gave her her diploma.
Ito knew families who took care of Japanese families' farms while they were interned.
Bill Chandler, the son, when I mentioned to him that I considered him to be a hero and his family, he said, "We're not heroes. We were just trying to be good neighbors."
And Judge Ito talked about the violation of constitutional rights.
It was a failure of the American justice system because these people were incarcerated without due process.
They later transferred up here to Heart Mountain.
This is a perfect example of the Japanese Americans who were here overcoming great odds.
This is about learning from the people who were here or their relatives.
I just want to make sure that this story is not lost.
If we don't protect ourselves and keep people aware, it could happen again.
At Heart Mountain, David J., MTN News.
Thank you, David. And Lance Ito's father, James, was the farm superintendent at Heart Mountain. James and Ito organized the farmers in the camp to grow crops for the 10,000 people. And this weekend, the Victory Garden was dedicated to the Itos, and the foundation plans to restore the root cellar that was part of the Itos' work. Well, wrapping up a metal weekend full of rock stars like Rob Zombie, Marilyn Manson, and tonight, Disturbed at the First Interstate Arena.
Speak to me!
All right, wrapping up a weekend of rock with the beginning of a month full of concerts with Montana Fair, starting on August 9th with Black Hawk, 98 Degrees. A lot of music coming our way, and a fun fact, Disturbed featured 2 local musicians during some of their songs, including The Sound of Silence, a Billings cellist and violinist. It's pretty cool. Well, stay with us. More to come on the 5:30 news. We take you to the Gallatin County Fairgrounds after the break for some brews and food, all to support combat veterans. Later in sports, we catch up with a former Billings star who's back in Bozeman, ready to return the Cats to glory.
You're watching MTN News with Zoe Zandora, Storm Tracker weather with Rob Griggs, and sports with Casey Conlon. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.